Hello everybody, this is the 7th video of Basis Excel series taught by Professor York. These videos are brought to you by Afaf Bourjaoui and Daniel Levy. This video is going to be to teach you an alternative to VLOOKUP. I do suggest you make sure you learn how to use VLOOKUP, as there are a lot of uses for VLOOKUP that the formula I'm going to teach you right now can't really replace. But in the event that you need to look up a range or look up a value, this is a very simple, or just get around the left to right VLOOKUP limitation. This is a really good way to look up values without having to worry about the left to right limitation in VLOOKUP, or if you just can't figure out what's wrong with your VLOOKUP and you just need to do something quick. So this is called an index and match function. Now what it is two functions that you bring together to kind of figure out what to work on. So let me break it down for you. The index function isn't really useful on its own, and generally you use it in when you're going through a lot of data, but in this situation we're going to use it to index the value that the value that we want to return. So what does that mean? So let me first teach you what a match function is, as it's easier to deal with. So we're going to do match, and what match does is it says the value that you're looking up, what column does it match up in the chart that you're looking in? So easier to see than to explain with words. So let's say we want to look for Willie Roy, right? So we put in Willie Roy as our lookup value, just like we would in a VLOOKUP. And your lookup array is basically like your table array. The difference is you don't have to highlight the whole table. You just highlight wherever it is that the value you're looking for is in. So what does that mean? So if the lookup value is a name, all you do is you highlight the name, and that's going to be your table array. You don't highlight like the whole chart or the whole thing. You just highlight the value where you're going to find the match. So what it's going to do is return a number. That number is the column that your value is in. So we're going to do the same thing like we do in a VLOOKUP. We're going to do an exact match, which is 0. And then we're going to just close our parentheses. Going to hit enter, and you see the number is 4. Now what does that number 4 mean? Again, to iterate, we're looking up for Willie Roy. So that means that Willie Roy is the 4th down in this table here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Makes sense, right? Now we're going to combine this with an index function. All that means for this specific case is you're going to choose the array that you're going to be pulling data from. So in this situation, we want the telephone number, right? So all we do is we say, okay, let's highlight the telephone number, just the telephone number, nothing that's it. Just like the match function, we just highlight that, lock it, because you also have to lock your values when using an index and match function. And now what we're going to do is we're going to type in comma match. And now all you got to do is, oh, sorry, I skipped ahead of myself. And now you got to do is you got to choose your row number. And remember, our row number is 4. Why? Because the 4 stands for Willie Roy. Willie Roy is in the 4th row in the other table, and the telephone number is in the 4th row. So 4th row, and I think that's all we really need in this situation. And as you can see, it returns the phone number. So what does index and match do? So you don't have to actually write all these out. That was just to explain to you how the formula is broken down. And as you may have noticed, actually no, not in this situation, but as I'll show you later, you can get around, you could actually look up values. Let's say you have telephone number, you can actually look up a name. That's what's nice about having these separate. So let's fill this in. So we're going to fill it in. So index, I'm going to show you how to put it all together. Index, so what's the value we want? We want telephone number. So we highlight the table array of the telephone number, lock it by hitting F4, comma, and we're going to type in match. And now, what's our lookup value? We're going to look up Joe Walter. And this is the same thing as in a VLOOKUP. You're looking up the person you want, or whatever it is, the value you're looking up. You choose just that value. And like always, actually in this situation I'm not going to do it, but sometimes you're going to want to lock your column if you're going to drag your formula horizontally. In this case we're not. So we're going to hit comma, and our lookup array, remember, it's wherever the Joe Walter is. Wherever you can match Joe Walter, value Joe Walter, that's your lookup array. So we're going to choose the lookup array is going to be the table where you can match up the lookup value, and that's going to be under name. Again, we're going to lock that value, and then you're going to hit comma, and you're going to hit exact match, just like a VLOOKUP, and you're going to hit close your brackets twice, because remember we have a two formulas, and you're going to get the table, you're going to get the formula, and just like a VLOOKUP, you copy it down and it works, and you can see the values are locked properly, the table stays the same. It's a very good alternative if you want to just quickly pull something really fast, or like I said, if you have an issue with your with the lookup value limitation of left to right searches only. Let's do another example. I'll let you guys do the street address as a practice example. Let's do another example. Let's say you have the street address, and let me just give you an example. If I were to just do a simple VLOOKUP, it wouldn't work. If I want to look up the name based off street address, I'm going to show you what happens if I do it. So I hit the lookup value. My table array doesn't really matter. It's going to be these two. Lock it, comma, column index. It's going to be 1. Lock it, comma, exact match, close brackets, NA. It's a limitation of Excel. You can't do that. So let's do an index function. So index, the array we're going to be looking for. So the array is what you want to pull back. So the array is going to be the name. So you choose your name, lock it, comma, put in your match function. That tells you what column, what row. Oh my God, I'm sorry. What row your information's in. And now you're going to choose the value you're going to be matching. So you're going to choose this, this address, and you're going to put it, you're going to match it. Your table array is going to be where you're going to match it, and you're matching it to street address. Lock it, because you don't want to move, you don't want the table array to move down as you copy it down. Match type is going to be an exact match, and do not forget that, because it will return, it works a little bit more different, a little bit strangely if you don't do an exact match in this instance. Double bracket, double closing bracket, enter, and as you can see, we pulled the name. And this essentially allowed us to bypass the limitation that we would have with the VLOOKUP. I'm going to do one more example. Again, I'm going to pull things that's to the left of your lookup value and to the right. So we're going to do it all over. The only thing that's annoying about this is you have to do an index match function for each table array. So if you can't just highlight the whole table and then just change the column number as you would in a VLOOKUP. You have to redo the whole formula each time. It can be a bit time consuming, but again, helps you get around that limitation, and it's very quick to write out, very simple, straightforward, not too difficult to understand. So let's do it again. So equals index, and we're gonna look for the name based off the zip code. So we're looking for the name. So we're gonna choose name as our table array. We're going to lock it so that it doesn't move when we drag it down. We're going to write a comma and then match. Double click on it or hit tab to automatically fill it in. Our lookup value is going to be the zip code. Again, you don't have to lock it, but in some instances you may need to. Remember the lessons on locking values. Your lookup array is wherever you're going to be able to match the lookup value, which in this case is zip code. So you're going to highlight that section right there. You're going to lock it. You're going to hit comma. Your match type, always exact in this situation, unless for some if you know what situation you don't use a situation where you'd want a greater than or less than value, you probably don't need this tutorial anyways. Hit enter, and you see we have Joe Walter. Let's copy it down, and perfect. All the values are filled in. Again, one last example. Let's change things up a bit. What I'm going to do for this example, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to separate the formulas just so you really understand what match is doing. All match is doing is saying what row is your information located on. So we're going to do it again. Equals match, and we're going to match this value, the zip code, with the zip code over here. And that's all we're going to do. And then we're going to put the match type as 0. And in this situation, we're not going to lock our value because I'll show you in a minute what I'm doing. Oops, I think I copied. Yeah, I did. I forgot to put in the lookup value. Let me just put that in again. So lookup value, comma, select the zip code area. That you actually do want to lock, the zip code area, but you don't want to lock the lookup value. So you could drag it down. And when I drag it down, you'll see it returns a bunch of numbers. And essentially what it's saying is what row is the zip code located on. So let me just give you an example of what I could do to mess around with this. If I switch 2100 with, let's do this. It's going to change things up a bit so you get a better idea. And I'm going to do 21, oops. And I'm going to put, hold on. I'm going to switch up two of the values on the sheet. And now I'm going to put in 2100 here. And 2100 on the top. And what you'll get is an NA value, which isn't right. Let me just make sure everything's good. Let me just get the same, let me just do it again. You know what it probably is? I have to clear formats. Okay, let me just see what's wrong really fast. You know what? We're going to leave it the way it is right now, just because I know this is like a formatting error that's going on, so we're not going to deal with it this way. Unless, hold on, I have an idea. I'm going to copy this down here, and as well, I'm going to paste it there, other way around. I'm going to copy that down there, and then I'm going to copy this, put it here, put it here. Bear with me for 1 second. And what that's going to do, yep, that did it. What that's going to do, as you can see now, it's not returning 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 because I mixed up the order. It's going to now say, okay, Joe Walter is in row 1, and the other one is in, it's going to say zip code 2100 is in row 1, and zip code 6600 is in row 7. That's what I basically did. Now we're going to do our index, so equals index, and we're going to choose the array that we're returning. So the array is going to be the usernames. And we're going to lock that. And for our row column, all we want to do is just select that box, close it, and hit enter. And as you'll see, when I drag this down, all the usernames are returned. And again, what I basically did is just split up the index and match function just so you really get an idea. All the index is saying, okay, return me the value that in the table array that you selected, in this case username, that's in this row. So row 7 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's ducted, so it's returning ducted because this is returning whichever row zip code 6600 is located on, which is also row 7. So again, a very interesting technique to get around limitations in Excel, or just an alternative method of pulling information. Again, this should be used in conjunction with your VLOOKUP data, so you should have both in your arsenal, but again, I tend to use this more often because a lot of times the lookups that I'm looking are just like one-time lookup values, and it's just easier for me to use it sometimes, especially with the limitation of VLOOKUP where I can't go backwards. So again, I'll let you decide which way you find most simple. For this course, you really will want to use the VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP as the course was designed to work with it. But in real life, you could use whichever version you find that fits best in the situation. And I hope this was helpful. And I really do hope that you understand VLOOKUP a lot better now, as well as index and match. There's really 2 periods of your Excel education: before learning VLOOKUP and after VLOOKUP. And I'm hoping after these videos, you'll be at the stage of after VLOOKUP, as it's an imperative function of an Excel. If you have any questions, in New Brunswick campus, in the New Brunswick campus, you can message Afaf. In the Newark campus, you can message myself, Daniel Levy, or if this is in a different year, you can message whoever is in charge of your Excel course at that given time. And I hope this was helpful. Have a great day.